Hey guys, welcome to the second week recap. This week was pretty crazy. I took place in my first tournament, which was the Tournament of Doom, the pre-show. Along with that, as you can see, we got up here to the Ogerpon Ultra League. So we are only one more league away from getting to Arceus. So that's pretty good so far for me. As you see, there's a deck here for the decks that I haven't showed yet. It's a deck that I have been playing a lot and I really like, and it is the Ogerpon deck. So, spoilers, this is the deck that I played in the tournament. I liked it so much that I decided to play it a little bit. I did only have 5 games with the deck before going into the tournament, but I think that by the end of it, I learned pretty much most of, not all, what I needed to know for the deck to be able to run it pretty well. Overall, I am pretty happy with the way that the deck worked. I do think that it has some merit in, like, if you find the right matchups, it can be really strong. And this little guy here, Iron Bundle, is by far the MVP. One of the honorable mention matches for my tournament is against a Iron Thorns Crystal player. And this Iron Bundle is the reason I won the game, because a lot of people don't realize that his refrigerated stream attack does 80 damage, but the defending Pokemon, if it is a evolution Pokemon, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. So if they have a Crystal up, you get to just freely keep swinging with your Iron Bundle, and they have to either retreat that Crystal and then bring it back in order to attack with it, or it's just locked there until it gets knocked out. So along with that, you also use the Bravery Charms to be able to make your Iron Bundle into a whopping 150, which means that their Iron Thorns can't one-shot you unless they have a future booster on it, and their Crystal can't one-shot you either. So by far one of my favorite cards. I will never doubt Iron Bundle again because of that match. For the overall deck list though, we are running the standard little variation of it where you get the 1 Latias, you get the 1 Mew EX, 1 Squawk ability, 1 Ursaluna, 1 Fez, the 1 Iron Bundle, and then a 3-2-2 spread of 3 for the Grass Ogerpon, 2 for the Water Ogerpon, and 2 for the Cornerstone Ogerpon. And then I'm also running 2 copies of Clefairy, which also came in clutch during the tournament against a Raging Bolt player, because by having 2 of them, I was able to get one set up enough before he could knock out both of them in order to be able to get a reverse knockout, and I was able to KO 2 of his Raging Bolts with that 1 Clefairy. Other than that, the trainers, we are running your little standard list. We are running 3 bosses though, 3 Iono, and then we are running 2 Bravery Charm, only 2 of Ogre's Mask. We use it sometimes, but for the most part, it's not as necessary, especially with this sort of meta that we're in, where there's a lot of Shaman. There's a lot of just beefier Pokemon that, unless you get a, turn 2 Wellspring Ogerpon play, then for the most part, the Ogre's Mask is only really used to go into Cornerstone if the matchup is right. You are running the 4 energy switch still, 3 earthen vessel, and then 4 energy. We are running 1 legacy energy as our ace spec, 3 of the luminous energy, and then 8 grass, 1 psychic. Overall, this deck I love. I do think that I'm going to be tweaking and playing with it more. Sadly, I don't think it's going to be a good fit in the coming meta with the... Well, by the time that this video comes out, it should be the next meta, so I don't think that it's going to be good into the Black Bolt, White Flare meta, where you get, the jelly scent of everyone's nightmares coming out. I don't really think that this deck's going to be too good into that, because you do rely on your trainers and your tools quite a bit. Tools not so much, but your trainers definitely. You do need your Night Stretchers for most matchups. You do need your energy switches. That's your number 1 card. And then you do need like your Terra Orb to be able to get pieces, or your Nest Ball to get pieces. So unless you get to set up right away, if they get into a Jellicent and they're able to put it into active, you're kind of out of luck. Other than that, I have been trying a couple different decks. I will just showcase, you know, just them right here. You, by this point, have seen the Future Box, another one of my favorite decks. I really like the whole future Pokemon and the playstyle of it, being able to just revolve around switching this Iron Valiant around to be able to go for game constantly and one-shot things. Really cool. I gave Roaring Moon a try. I gave Ho-Oh Armarouge a try. There will probably be more on this later, especially because I think that there's some new cards that I really want to try in it. I tried the Noctowl version of Raging Bolt a little bit. It's pretty good. I want to try the no Noctowl version, the, what are people calling it, the Turbo Raging Bolt. I did try the Team Rocket's Mewtwo, the Grimmsnarl, and of course the Cynthia's Garchomp, which is a 10 out of 10 deck. If you guys haven't seen the videos on Future Box or Cynthia's Garchomp, I highly recommend checking them out. Those two are really strong decks, and I think that they do have a place in the coming meta, especially Cynthia's Garchomp. I do think that it's going to be really strong. And then other than that, I did make Festival Lead. There will be more on that I can show later. I have been playing Ethan's Typhlosion. Shout out to Mad Hatter TCG. I'm not going to showcase the deck list right now because I want to work on it some more, but he gave me his deck list that he's been using for Ethan's Typhlosion that runs a Dusknoir package, and it is pretty good. So thank you, Mad Hatter TCG. I've been playing with the deck quite a bit too. I do really like it. Other than that, let us go on to the actual tournament, right? This is what everyone's here for. So, Tournament of Doom, the pre-show. For this tournament, there was a total of 354 players, and the deck that took it all home was a Grimmsnarl Frostlass. Second place was a Dragapult Charizard, and then third was actually a Blissey. Crazy, right? And then for me personally, this is the matchup spread that I had. I will be showcasing two decks today. I will be showcasing the one that we lost here against Aiden T, against the Gardevoir, and then I'll also be showing the one against Faithly, which is the Raging Bolt player that I played against with the Clefairies and all that. So overall, for our first tournament, especially with a deck that we, again, only had 5 matches before the tournament as like practice on how the deck plays, I think that overall I did pretty well. I did match up into 3 kind of stun Wally decks that I had never really played against, which is the Iron Thorns Crustle, and then the Pidgeot Control. It says Pidgeot Control, but really it was a Garnackle deck that I personally don't think is a lot of fun to play. I'm not that big into these control decks after playing them, and then I watched a little videos last night on like some other variants just to see if any of them are different, and they kind of seem like they all do the same thing. They're just there to sit there and look pretty until you concede. So not really my cup of tea. But if that is your cup of tea, more power to you. I just like decks that have more interaction. So without further ado, I do think that these matches and being able to go over my misplays and my mistakes, along with going over the things that I think that I did right, will not only help me, but help the rest of you guys that may be looking at this content as something of like, oh, well, this is a brand new or a returning player that, you know, is going through the same struggles that I am. Let me see if I can learn something from him. And that's ultimately what I want these Saturday videos to be about, is us as a community being able to look at videos of our misplays or videos of our cool little plays that we did and be able to take that and have that shared experience that can teach everyone in our group, you know, just making us all better players one step at a time. So without further ado, I will just send it right off into the games. So, see you in the next game. Alright, so game number 1 is going to be the Guardy matchup that I was talking about. So there's a couple different misplays in here that I kind of want to address, because if I'm able to talk and show these misplays to you guys here, then it does also help me, because it gives me a refresher all the time as well. So here, we're just doing the usual Ogerpon box stuff. You know, the whole goal is try to get 2 grass Ogerpons going, try to get them with as many energy as possible. Though I do think that this is a little bit wrong here. What I should have done is, instead of using the effect of the other grass Ogerpon that's on the bench, I should have just held that one that one grass in my hand. That way the next turn I would be able to guarantee that I can attack. Here they do have the secret box though. They always have the secret box. That's just one of Guardy's things, is always having everything that they need at all times. So here they do get the earthen vessel and all that. And then there's the Artisan Iono to fix up our hands. So we do get all of the energy, so that's really good. Here, what I'm really looking for is I want to get a luminous energy, and I need a wellspring that I can send to the bin, and then a mask change. If I can get that combination, then I can knock out the Ralts here. The other thing that I could do is I could just use this nest ball, or actually use the Artisan, get this iron bundle, and then right here I'm just prize checking. I'm looking to see what all I still have in here. So I know that I still have the Wellsprings. If I can find and get a Wellspring powered up really fast, then there's a high chance that I can win this. So here we are just going to Teal Dance. That gets us one more card. We get a Research. We're going to Teal Dance on the second one. Get another card. That's a Iono. And then here, I'm just thinking I could just throw down a Wellspring now. That way then if I do start getting into switches, then I have the access to that. And there's both of the switches and the Luminous, so kind of bad timing. But at the same time, it's not terrible. So I can still just use that iron bundle here. And this is where I kind of make a bit of a misplay. What I should have done is, instead of doing this move here, I should have just knocked out the Monkey Dory with the Grass Ogerpon. Then at that point, it's up to them to knock out this Wellspring. Otherwise, if they get more Ralts set up, then I have the boss to be able to boss up Ralts and then be able to knock out 2 Pokemon and put myself back in track of, or put myself down to only 3 prize cards remaining. So this, if you are ever in this situation, always swing with the Grass Ogerpon. Don't use Wellspring right away, because it's not getting 2 prizes. There's no reason to do that right now. Here, they're just artisaning for more Monkey Dories. They're able to get get damage off of the one that we injured. So we do have, luckily, a Earthen Vessel. Here they got the Turbo Energized, so that means that both of their Monkey Dories that they do have are going to be completely energied up. Or actually, they only put energy on one of them. So they must have prized a Dark. So here we just use the Grass Ogerpon real quick. We're getting rid of one of these Clefairies because it's so easy for them to knock out, especially with triple Monkey Dory. And now we're just getting these Ogerpons set up, because now they're gonna have to be the ones that are our main attackers. We do have a nest ball. We could use that right now. This is also another position where we could just boss up their Ralts. So I'm thinking about it. I'm going to manually attach this turn. And then here, I'm just getting rid of the Monkey Dory. So again, I think that this is kind of another... Well, it's kind of difficult. I put myself in the losing end with that Wellspring play. Because that turn, I could have easily been able to boss up the Ralts and then be able to knock out one of the Monkey Dories. There's a high chance that they would have had a Gardevoir EX because, you know, they have Rare Candy and all that like they do right now. But I think it still would have been the better play overall to try to get that done. So here, they attach the Bravery Charm, making their Clefairy 240. They're gonna put a little bit of energy, that way then they can one-shot our Ogerpon here. And then just like that, we're gonna be even on prizes, but they are fully set up. They got a Scream Tail just waiting in the back lines now. All of this could have been avoided if I didn't make that mistake, but this game is still winnable. So it's not like we're in a completely, like, we lose the game because of that. But we just need to be in the position where we don't make any more mistakes and try to get as much value out of all of our swings as we possibly can. So here we get another energy off the top. We do find a energy switch. And then we do have the Night Stretcher. So I could here use Ogre Mask to swap out the Wellspring for the Grass Ogerpon again. Because this one's just not doing enough damage. I also could just use the Night Stretcher, get 8 energy. Here, I'm thinking about just bossing something. I could knock out one of the Monkey Dories, which is what I decide to do. Just trying to get as much of their extra damage off as I can. Because now they're not going to be able to one-shot this one with the Clefairy. So they're going to have to find another way. They'd have to find like their Drifloon if they want to one-shot it. So here, I'm just looking, making sure of stuff. I don't like that they have the Fez because now they're just constantly getting 3 cards every turn, and we're only taking 1 prize card, but that is the essence of Gardevoir, right? Here, they're gonna Super Rod back. What are they Super Rodding? Probably double Monkey Dory and a Dark Energy, so. Then they Ultra Ball. They get rid of a Energy and an Artisan for another Monkey Dory. They're trying to keep 2 Monkey Dory on the field at all times, which they do have the Night Stretcher, so they get the energy back too. So that boss was basically meaningless. I mean, it did require them to have specific resources, but here's the counter catcher. They're going to get rid of this Wellspring for another 2 prizes, putting them down to only needing to knock out 1 more thing. So, and then I know that coming up is going to be the biggest misplay that I made in this matchup, and I should have went with my instincts with it. It's coming up soon. So once we get there, I'll explain it all to you too, along with my thought process of why I didn't do what I should have done. But here, they're going to be able to get the knockout on our Wellspring. We just put the Mew EX up. We get a Cornerstone. And then I'm just reading Ursaluna, so I can swing with Ursaluna this turn. They're down to 2 prizes, so it should only cost me 1 energy to be able to swing. Here we can get the Iron Bundle. We'll be able to one-shot anything that gets brought up. So if they give us like a 2-prizer, that would be huge. They do. So we're going to play down the Ursaluna. We're going to use an energy switch. Might as well use the second one as well, just to put the extra energy, or we should have put it on the Mew EX right there. And then here we're using the Ogre's Mask, that way then we're just able to change real quick so we can empty our hand. That way we can draw 3, and there's the Legacy Energy. So this is the misplay. Legacy Energy states that I'm able to, what is it? If the opponent only, or knocks out the Pokemon with the Legacy Energy, they only take 1 prize. There's only 1 Pokemon on my board right now that has a chance of getting knocked out, and it's that Mew EX. But as you see, I hesitated. I put it on the Ursaluna because I was afraid that the Ursaluna may get knocked out, but that is completely wrong. They have the Screamtail on the field, and I know that they have enough energy in their trash to be able to knock out this Mew EX. If I put the Legacy Energy on the Mew EX, they would only be able to take 1 prize this turn, and that would have guaranteed that I would have won on the following turn. So here they are just doing that play. I realized it at this point. I was like, wait, let me look at their trash. Yep, they have enough energy. So that was a complete misplay from my mark. Don't make this misplay. It will cost you the game. So that was the first game. So here's the second. This time it's against the Raging Bolt. And this one, I did some pretty deep thought, but I think that there may have been some mistakes that I made as well. So we'll cover those. Here, I always get into the habit of prize checking. I'm getting rid of a Night Stretcher, even though they're super valuable, because we only have the Professor's Research as our supporter in hand, and we're going to have to use that next turn. So I could have Ultra Balled right there, but I decided not to because I didn't want to give up the second Night Stretcher right away, or give up the second Ultra Ball right away. Here, though, they do the Nest Ball. They find the Fan Rotom, so they are running the Noctowl variant. So I know that they're going to have answers to most of my stuff. They find Ditto, double Noctowl, or double Hoot Hoot. And then they Prime Catcher here, up the Mew EX. They attach for turn, and then they Iono. So we get a much better hand, like way better hand. One of the big downfalls of this Ogerpon deck is like your biggest defense is that Cornerstone Mask, but that only works against Pokemon with abilities, and we are currently in a meta where a majority of the attackers are Pokemon that don't have abilities. Here we do top deck the boss, so I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, there's a couple different plays that I could really do. So I'm just looking through. I'm gonna get this Clefairy down, and then I will attach the Bravery Charm to it to make it a little bit tankier. And then we find another Teal Mask. So we are just going to Ultra Ball those two away. And then that's going to allow us to be able to grab the Fez as a safety option right now. We also could just grab the Latias, but we're going to grab the Fez. We're going to throw that down. We are going to use the Mew EX. We find the Ogre's Mask. So later on, we could have a Wellspring play. And then here, I'm thinking about bossing, but I decide not to. I'm just going to Ogre's Mask, get the first knockout. They already used their Prime Catcher, so I'm not really worried about them having anything other than like bosses that they usually play. I don't think that they play counter catchers. Here they do have the Earthen Vessel. So I know that they're going to be able to swing and be able to knock out this Ogerpon this turn. But my Clefairy should be safe. I do have a second Ogerpon on the field that I can attach an energy to and have a high chance of being able to get a attack off with the Clefairy. So here I'm just reading Noctowl. I was trying to figure out what the Hoot Hoot under it did because I saw that it had a ability. So here, the game plan in my mind at this point is I need to build up a Clefairy so I can one-shot these Raging Bolts. If I can one-shot this Raging Bolt, he doesn't really have a good attacker. He does have the boss, and he does have the jamming tower, so now he's going to be able to one-shot the Clefairy. He throws down a second Raging Bolt as well. This does require all of the energy that he has on the field currently, and he's down to, he'll be down to 3 cards in hand because he took those 2 prizes. Here we do find a penny, doesn't really help us, so we are going to just Ogerpon real quick. We find an Ultra Ball, so I'm just thinking, what do I want to give up with the Ultra Ball? So I decide, let's just get 3 more cards real quick. We find the Legacy Energy, which is huge. So now I'm like, okay, let's thin our deck a little bit more. I'm just looking through, making sure that I had the second copy of Clefairy. So I'll get out another Wellspring, because that is not going to be as useful right now. We'll get rid of another Ogerpon in our hand too. We'll grab that Clefairy. We can throw that down, throw down the Legacy Energy, and then we are going to do the research. So we give up one of our bosses, but we do find the energy switch, which is huge. We're going to take it off of the one that only has 1 energy, and then this way we can start swinging. We're going to be able to knock out that Raging Bolt, and now he has to build up the second Raging Bolt in order to get a reverse knockout. We know that in our deck we still have a Night Stretcher as well, so we can get back one of our Clefairies later on if we can find it. And our hand has 2 bosses in it, so with us having the Luminous Energy, we do have 1 more Ogre's Mask in our bin as well, so there's also that as a potential play to be able to like boss up one of the Noctowls and then be able to get rid of double Noctowl. And there's the Ogre's Mask. So here we are just going to, we will Ogre's Mask right now. So this is just letting them know that we have it, but this way if they Iono us, we have the Ogre's Mask to be able to do the knockout. And then here we just boss up their Raging Bolt, KO that, take another 2 prizes. And now they're forced into a position of, we are able to one-shot pretty much anything on their board. And we can do it in 2 different ways. So they have to choose, they have to find a way to protect their entire board and get rid of both of our attackers here. So that's the reason why we made this decision. I do think that it is one of the better decisions that I made of the night as well too. Here they do play out the Stadium. and they're just trying to fill up their board a little bit, which means that they need to get rid of the Clefairy, but at the same time, we just have the Wellspring anyway on field that's going to do game. So, in this matchup, I do think that it does come down to the Clefairies oftentimes from what I've been seeing. So if you do play the Ogerpon deck, just know that once you play against Raging Bolt, your 2 Clefairies, if you run this list, is going to be pivotal for you to win the game. You need it to be able to one-shot those Raging Bolts, because most of the time they're going to be using 1 or 2 energy off of their Raging Bolt. So your Grass Ogerpon is not going to do enough damage, and your Wellspring Ogerpon is definitely not going to do enough damage. So here they get another Raging Bolt down. They also have a baby Raging Bolt down too, but I'm not seeing anything that can KO anything on my board, and they still need 4 prizes. Here they do have the energy switch. So they can now knock out the Clefairy. So they do have that, but we only need 1 prize. So they go down to 2 prizes, or no, they go down to 3 prizes because we had the Legacy energy there. And then we just promote the Wellspring. We're gonna boss just to show that we had it, and then we're just gonna knock out double Noctowl, and that will be game. So I hope that you enjoyed these games and this video, knowing about the second week of my progress. Let me know in the comments what your first tournament experience was like as well. I'd love to hear more from you guys, and remember, as always, subscribe for more videos just like this. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday.